Hey everybody. Okay, so I just got a really good email from a viewer who wanted to know how their rising sign or their cusp might affect how they should look at their their weekly forecasts, or how they should look at any kind of divination, especially tarot, if they're doing it in conjunction with their astrological sign. Now, my first reaction to this was, I don't know, I'm not really an astrologer. What do I do? Cusps, rising signs. Okay. Well, this is kind of how I came to look at it, and this is just something I've kind of noticed with myself and my friends. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not an astrologer, so this is just kind of me winging it. But at my experience, the rising sign, once again, the rising sign is the sign that's coming up on the horizon at the time of your birth. Okay? You get that by finding out the date and time of your birth. And you gotta do it specifically. It's on your birth certificate. The rising sign, I've come to notice, it's probably good to check both your rising sign and your sun sign. If you're, maybe 25 to 30, you're either going through, about to go through, or just finish your return of Saturn. That's when your rising sign starts to take serious effect. All of us Virgos just kind of had our return of Saturn, in our own way, and, I'm starting to adopt some Libran qualities, which is kind of funny, makes me easier to talk to, apparently. And as far as your cusp is concerned, I would look at when you're born, like which of the 2 days of the cusp you actually are, because you're transitioning from one sign to another. You're not Libra and Scorpio at the same time, unless you're one of those people that's born on the midnight of the 21st, 22nd of, October. You're not two signs at once. You're actually in a transition. I see it as a mobile kind of thing. And so you could kind of look at it as a kind of a clarification of how things, can go. It's almost like you have two routes or two possibilities, two things going on. But I would definitely focus on the one that's coming up. I would focus on your Scorpio if you're a Scorpio Libra cusp. I would focus on your Gemini if you're a Taurus Gemini cusp. That just makes the most sense to me. You're trying to, evolve and move forward. I think that a certain amount of your qualities are dictated by the specific day, however, that you're born. In regards to your cusp, if you're on the 21st, you're just at the very end of your sign, and you're kind of moving out of it. And so I kind of see that is your time to embellish everything that you've kind of accumulated or learned, and just be the biggest stinking Cancer, Leo, Aquarius you can be, because you're moving out of that sign. You're on your way out of it. If you're going to look at the Scorpio or whatever comes after you, you're probably going to look at that as an option, but not necessarily as something that's, that you need to do right now. However, if you're on the 22nd, if you're just starting the new sign, I think you're actually probably being called on to diminish some of the qualities of the previous sign, just because you're kind of going, it's like school, or, like different grades in college or things like that, you're going through your prereqs, you're going through, all different kinds of subjects, and there are things that you need to, kind of keep, and there are some things that you don't really have to work on right now because you're learning all this other new stuff, and so you need to compartmentalize. I think a lot of people like the idea of being kind of like a bipolar cusp, but I don't know if that really applies. I don't really look at it that way. I think the only bipolar sign is Gemini. Sorry, guys. That's not true. But yeah, the only reason I say look at your cusp as anything significant is to kind of see where you might be diminishing or embellishing your qualities properly. And your rising sign, I would definitely say, comes into effect, like I said, between your 25th or 30th birthday, when you're dealing with Saturn and, moving in, moving out, returning, just driving you nuts. that's when your rising sign starts to take effect. And then it'll affect you, thereon, the rest of your life. But if you're, 22, 21, you don't really need to worry about that just yet. Anyway, thank you so much for the email. I don't know if I answered very many of your questions. I'm not an astrologer. I read tarot. I'm a psychic medium. I don't really do a lot of the astrology charts and and how they fit into human psychology, but as far as how you could read the tarot with it, that's what I got. Please let me know what you think. It's a really good email. I like the ones that are a challenge like that. I'll talk to you later.